Word, son. What do you do, YouTube? It's your boy, Jay Devon. All right, man, before we get into this video, make sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe, share the word, spread the links because you know how I do. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon so you're notified every time I upload. Without further ado, let's get up into it. All right, man. So with Madden 26 and college football pretty much being in the air right about now, college football being released sometime next month, and then I believe the month after that, sometime in August, that's when we get Madden. But with both of those games in the air, this is around the time where they'll start pretty much hyping up, if you will, these two products with a lot of influencers and content creators that really don't speak negatively about Madden and are really more or less positive, if not positive, then neutral. When it comes to these products. And I got a few talking points that I want to talk about in regards to Madden and college football and these influencers and content creators. So maybe without further ado, man, make sure you sit back, chill, take a pee break, pause the video, get some popcorn because you know how I do. Without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, man. One thing I want to talk about at the top of this list is the influencers and their responsibility. Now, when I say that, I'm saying that in terms of every year, there's always been the pretty much the hype up of said iteration of Madden. Right now, we got college football in the loops, talk about that too. But Madden is always, every single year, by these influencers that have always been in this light of, oh man, this year Madden is going to be great. They did this, and this. They did that. Every single year, it's the same exact deal. And then at any given time, whenever there's issues with Madden, if it ain't game breaking, there's pretty much little to no response or little to no call to action in regards to getting it fixed. Like I said, unless it's something game breaking where it's a bug or a glitch that is literally breaking the game. Now, as far as exploiting and cheesing, that's something totally different. But the irresponsibility is at an all-time high, because the issue that I have with these influencers and content creators talking about Madden or college football is because there's a hint of bias. You know what I'm saying? There's no like, okay, you guys say you added this, but what about this? You know what I'm saying? Everything is more or less positive talking points, and there's really no callback to, okay, hey, y'all remember that time where the linemen were turning around doing this, that, and the third? I played maybe about a couple hours of it, and I didn't see a whole lot of that. You know what I mean? I don't see them taking that aspect of them being an influencer seriously, because there are a bunch of questions that people want to know, not even from what all the game is going to entail, but at least from a gameplay standpoint. Because what's the point of even having all of these modes and having little small bells and whistles being added to these modes and certain players that you bringing in? Because I know in college football they said something about you can or from what I've been seeing is you can change the stance of said wide receiver. You can have them standing up straight, have them crossing their hands, sitting on, resting on their thigh. Different wide receiver stances that you can have, and it might just be for visual purposes, but that could also be a thing where whether or not you can tell what type of receiver it is, who knows? But again, what does that hold? What type of weight does that hold when you're talking about the gameplay? Because gameplay is what matters the most. And if you're not going to do your homework and take these videos like mine and other people's concerns and complaints and take that and go into the studio and show them that, and then do your research, come back and say, okay, hey, so y'all remember the video we was doing this, right? Okay, so this is what I seen. I didn't see them doing a whole lot of this. You know what I mean? That's the type of responsibility that I would hope that they have, or at least I would have if I were to go in there. Or, like I said, they don't have that responsibility. They just go in there and get wined and dined and pretty much just have a neutral, if not a neutral, more or less positive outlook on the next iteration of Madden. And then once everything starts to unfold, they pretty much just fall to the wayside. They don't say anything, or more or less they just kind of just keep it neutral. The only person I could probably say that I feel is maybe neutral, and I can kind of take his word for it because he's an NFL, well, I would say he was in the NFL as a quarterback, as Kurt Benkert. That's probably the only one I can pretty much say that I can hear him and kind of sort of take his word for it. But at the same exact time, he has an understanding on a level that other content creators don't really have. Because again, we're talking about football here. So if I were to tell him something about football internally, he could break it down to me in the NFL standpoint and in the gamer standpoint. If that makes any sense. But again, I'm getting off topic. But next thing is the skepticism. And I don't see a whole lot of it. I don't see a whole lot of skepticism in terms of the whole idea that last year was this, but this year's going to be that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be a level of skepticism, and I understand that it's their job to make it to where we don't feel like last year's attempt is gone in vain. You know what I'm saying? Or this year's attempt is gone in vain. You know what I'm saying? Like, the level of skepticism for me is at an all-time high. For them, it's not like that. They're being told, they're being paid to pretty much keep the skepticism to an all-time low, and reiterate or regurgitate the talking points that they were told to them when they went down there. But the level of skepticism that I have, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have, is very high, because every year, if you look at, not say every year, but if you look at some of the most recent videos of them talking about the next iteration of Madden, let's say from 24 to 25, oh yeah, man, Madden 25 is going to be great. They've done this, they revamped that, they reworked this. Let's really get into it, guys. And then they do the same exact thing, rinse and repeat for the next iteration, 24 going to 25, 25 going to 26, the same exact deal. So it's like, at what point do I believe your word? Because you do the same thing every single year. At what point do I take your point seriously? You know what I'm saying? You're not making me feel like this year is going to be better because you said the same thing last year. And my experience with Madden the previous year before the new one dropped was pretty much bittersweet. If it wasn't bittersweet, it wasn't good. You know what I mean? I had a lot of hard times versus me having good times. So again, when you guys are coming out talking about, I played Madden early, or I played college football early, this is what I seen, yada, yada, yada. When I hear that, the skepticism is just off the charts for me. And I'm pretty sure it's for a lot of people, but I can't sit here and I can't take your word for it. I just can't, because you've done it multiple times. And every time that I did, or any time that people do, and they're only getting shown the opposite, or what they were being told isn't as consistent as they're trying to make it sound, you know what I mean? What am I to do at that point? Then at that point, you just raise your hands and be like, put your hands and be like, hey man, I'm just saying, both hands up, like it's a stick up type shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, I'm just saying, man, that this is what I saw. Everybody's experience is going to be different, and then they're going about their business. You know what I mean? But yeah, I have a very high skepticism about it. I'm very skeptical about college football Madden, and it's for a good reason. And with a healthy mind, if you have any idea how EA does, you would understand why there's skepticism, at least coming from me. Not because I don't like EA, but it's because anytime they say something, it sounds good on paper, and then when the product comes out, the execution is poor, piss poor. So college football 26. Now, if y'all been paying attention on TikTok, there has been somebody on there, or there are a few people on there that have been showcasing early gameplay of college football 26. Now, I'm not going to point y'all in the direction of who to watch, but if you run into it on TikTok, you run into it on TikTok. All right, just telling y'all that now. As a matter of fact, somebody already got banned for showcasing gameplay footage, because when you're inside of the little beta, they tell you that you cannot capture any footage, no screenshots, no nothing. They tell you that, and then they pretty much tell you, like, if we catch you, you're donezo. So from the gameplay that I seen, it was very underwhelming. It was one of those things where I didn't see much of a difference, other than there's a different contrast and different font to the letters. The scoreboard was definitely different. There's a few new animations that I saw. One of them was a hit stick, and it did look pretty damn hard. You know what I'm saying? Pause. The hit stick looked pretty damn it looked pretty good. You know what I'm saying? It looks like it's a very fumble worthy animation. You know what I'm saying? You can literally see a dude get leveled. It doesn't look like any of those other animations that we had in regards to hit stick, where you're like, ooh, that was a hard hit. You know what I mean? This one was one of those ones. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like animations go, you know, I didn't really see anything that made me say, oh, wow, that's cool. You know what I mean? The blocking with the O-line, from what I seen during those times, I didn't see a lot of people turning around. I didn't see a lot of people turning around, standing up and not engaging or missing blocks. Now, again, composure, home field advantage, that's going to play a big part, because, you know, once you're rattled, sometimes you're not really focused on what you got to do. So I completely understand that aspect of college football. I understand you're not going to get consistent great blocks every single time, not perfect, but great blocks every single time, because there's going to be a bunch of things that factor in, you know, home field advantage. If it's not a neutral game, you're going to have games where these guys are rattled. The home crowd is giving them trouble. They can't concentrate. They can't focus. If they don't have the abilities on that say that, in away games they're not rattled and stuff of that regard, you know what I mean? But other than that, man, it's just you know, I don't really see nothing college football 26 that made me say, oh wow, that's crazy. You know what I mean? A few notable things that I said, I know I mentioned one of them earlier before, the different wide receiver things that you can set for your guys. I saw something that it was a screenshot, and you know, the coaching adjustments, you know, you get to set your different zones and the depths and that type of stuff. You get to now set your safeties to where you want them to play deep. You want them to play shallow. You want them to play to the hash as far as wide, like the width of them. You want them to play wide. You want them to play a little closer than that. There's different safety adjustments you can do as well. Because I remember last year, a friend of mine, he was playing against somebody who was throwing nothing but deep balls. And there was nothing that he could do. He was scooting them back, telling them to play over the top, having them run the deep blue. I mean, he did everything that he could possibly do. And every single time, all he had to do was literally just throw the ball up on the street, and the safeties pretending like they didn't know what to do. Every single time, it was a long bomb, caught it, either touchdown or he's right there at the goal line. There was nothing he could do. The user in it couldn't do nothing. There was nothing that he could do. You know what I'm saying? So that addition, I think, is kind of good. I think that that's something that should have been here a long time ago. But again, because I feel like they can't properly code the safeties to actually play defense, they add that as a coaching adjustment now. You know what I'm saying? I really felt that's something that they should have did as far as gameplay mechanics wise. Not go into a setting and making them play defense, but that's something that should be gameplay mechanic wise. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't take a slide of a button or a flip of a switch to make them play deep, or be shallow, or play close, play wide, you know what I mean? Play to the hash, you know, or sit at the hash, or whatever the case is, you know what I mean? Let's see, what else was there? The gameplay, I think it was a little faster. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a little faster, just from what I've seen. Again, there wasn't really nothing that made me like say, oh wow, that's different, or oh wow, that's cool. They didn't have that at 25 or 26. Man, I'm looking forward to 26. Like, nothing about 26 made me pop out and say, okay, this one might be a little bit better this year. And that's just gameplay, you know what I mean? Me personally, I'm more or less focused on gameplay. We can worry about the modes later. I just want to make sure that we have consistent, cohesive gameplay. That's my first thing. The immersion. Now, the immersion for college football, and we're going to talk about Madden too. The immersion in college football for me, I don't want to play against somebody and me utilizing my team's strengths, right? Because again, I'm always going to have the sim standpoint on football games, period. Okay, what game it is. But I don't want to play a game where I feel like I have to cheese just to get ahead, or I have to combat what he's doing with cheese just to stay with him. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to feel like I have a wrench thrown into my gameplay. I don't want to feel like when I'm trying to make a comeback, or I'm trying to play and do my thing and, you know, get what they call a script basically, and that's pretty much just drive down the field with a good handful of plays. I don't want to feel like I can't compete. That was like my biggest complaint last year. That was my biggest complaint. Like, granted, if I played against somebody that I know was better than me, I wanted to feel like my choices matter. My choices made the difference. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to feel like, okay, if this dude's defense is crazy, right? I can't get no passes off. So what's the next best thing to do? Run the ball. Now, I've always been somebody that perfected the run game first, because that's how I started playing football, especially on Madden 03. If running was always my thing, you know what I'm saying? So if I want to run the ball and break that defense down some so I can be able to get some passes off, I should feel like I can run the ball and my guys don't penalize me for it, or the game doesn't penalize me for it. I don't want to see 50 million instant sheds all around the damn field. I don't want to see my guys stopping and getting in my way rather than them going up to create daylight, right? If I got somebody like Trent Williams on my team, I should feel like I got a juggernaut like Trent Williams on my team to be able to go up and create room at any given point in time. You know what I mean? Granted, I understand the home field advantage and composure and all that good stuff play a factor, but let's just say it's a neutral game. I want to feel like my linemen are actually linemen. They're actually going to create daylight. My fullback is looking to create daylight. I don't want to feel like I have to do twice the amount of work just to run the ball. I got to evade my opponents, my opponent's defenders, or the defenders. I got to evade them and my guys, because they'll sit there, stop, and stand there and literally stand there like they're confused and don't know where to go, rather than running the fit. You know what I'm saying? If I'm running the inside zone, I shouldn't have to all of a sudden now bank it to the outside, because I'm watching my lineman completely just sew the hole up, and now I gotta go and find a different route to run because now my fit is gone. Or if I do run the fit, I don't want to see 50 million insta sheds all of a sudden, even if I'm not holding R2. If I'm not holding R2, because I think that's so stupid, but if I'm not holding R2, I don't want to see my guys engaged for 0.5 seconds and then bam, he pops right off the block and then I'm tackled for a gain of 2 yards. You know what I'm saying? Because see, then at that point, that's where the immersion gets broken, because blocking isn't just touch and go like that. You know what I'm saying? Blocking it's a one-off thing. It's not a one-off thing. Like, linemen are committed to blocking. They're committed to creating daylight. I want to see more of that. You know what I'm saying? My immersion gets broken when I see my lineman not blocking. My immersion gets broken when I see my quarterback not making the passes that he was making earlier. Not even from like a composure being down type perspective, but just the game literally tweaking, twisting, and turning it in the fashion of, okay, well, you're beating this guy and we want him to feel like he can make the comeback. So let's just turn your guy's stats down just a little bit, just a taste. You might see the difference, but I'm gonna turn it just a little bit and let him get, some good plays off. Okay, all right, cool. We just want to keep the game fair. I don't want that type of gameplay, and that's where the immersion gets broken for me. You know what I'm saying? I'll talk about that in Madden too, because that definitely goes hand in hand with Madden. But Madden 26 and the thoughts on gameplay from the influencers. A lot of them, in the way that they talk about Madden, again, my concern with Madden 26 is don't overdo it. Don't overdo this weather claim. Don't do it. I don't want to see my guys, and again, EA does this shit because they're always trying to show you and throw it in your face. Hey guys, look, we got weather in this game. Look at that. You see your guys playing in the rain. Oh, look, he slipped. Look at your quarterback. He slipped too, man. Isn't that cool? Y'all have a very strong tendency to overdo a lot of shit in Madden. Anytime y'all got a selling point, y'all will literally run it to the ground just so that you make it to where that we see it every single time. Don't overdo the weather thing, man. Just don't. All right. I don't want to see my guys sliding all over the damn field because it's wet outside. Right. If you're going to keep it to where, let's say if I'm playing against the Saints, right, and the Saints, they don't play in the elements, they're in the dome. So if they happen to come out to Philly and it's snowing out there or it's wet outside, or not to the back, let's say if the Saints go to Philly, right, and it's snowing, I should expect the Saints to not be able to keep up with me in the snow while all the rest of my guys are vetted and playing in conditions like that. And I low key should kind of have an upper hand, not to the point where you can't compete, but I should be able to not be able to slip and fall all the time, rather than the Saints, because again, they don't play in the elements. My guys are vetted in the elements. Again, let's use the Saints one more time. They play in the dome. Let me see. I'm trying to think of another team. Okay, well, we'll just keep it on the Saints. Saints, right? They go to Seattle. Seattle is always rainy. So if I'm playing against the Saints and I got the Seahawks, I don't want to see my guys falling every 1.5 to 2 plays. The Saints, I can understand them consistently slipping and falling, and at the same time, I want to know the extent or the severity of how much they're gonna slip and fall. You know what I'm saying? If they slip and fall, they completely out of the play. How long is it gonna take for them to get back into the play? That's another thing they're not talking about. You know what I'm saying? There's so many variables when they're talking about the weather, the slipping and sliding, and all this other good stuff. You know, I want them to literally. And I'm kind of jumping all over the place because I also talk about that at a different point in the video. But don't overdo the weather. You know what I mean? Just don't overdo it. You know. Back to the gameplay thoughts. God, Jesus, I done jumped all the way down to the weather aspect. But the gameplay thoughts. Madden 25. If you notice, I never gave y'all a fuck Madden 25 video. If you notice, I never gave y'all one. And the only reason why I didn't was because that was the only game where I felt like, aside from college football felt more arcadey like. It felt really arcade like. Then when I went to go play Madden felt more realistic. Now I'm saying realistic in terms of we're comparing it to college football and Madden, right? Madden felt more weighty. Madden felt more, you know, like I said, it felt more simulation based rather than college football. College football just felt like an arcade football game. So I tried to go in to play Madden in a different mindset rather than playing college football. Now, again, there was a time where playing in these leagues and playing online, it pretty much just, you know, ruined my entire appetite if you want to play Madden, and I completely put it down. I might put the video up if y'all ask for it enough, but the gameplay, you know, there's so many questions that have to be asked. You know, they're talking about real world data or NFL data that they've used or gathered from the NFL in regards to different animations. They're talking about they added over 500 different animations. Quarterback animations are included. So you'll see more Mahomes type passes on the run. Josh Allen, same thing with him. Hopefully Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? So, like I said, this is data they claim that they gathered from the NFL. And I'm pretty sure it spreads over to the other players as well. But, you know, again, how consistent or how overpowering is going to be? How consistent are they going to be with this? You know, y'all say the same exact thing every year about data this, data this, data this, data that, data this, data that. Y'all say the same thing every single year, but that data becomes literally a afterthought. I'm not thinking about data during that time. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about what I know Saquon can do. I'm thinking about what I know Jalen Hurts can do. I know what AJ Brown is going to do. I know what Dallas Goedert is capable of doing. You know what I'm saying? And then even then, when I do want to do those same things that I said, oh, let's do X, Y, and Z with Saquon, I'm expecting Saquon to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? But again, how consistently can he do it? How much of that data is going to be concurrent with how gameplay in Madden is going to work? How well is it going to mesh? I remember I used to say that every year about Madden and the things that they claim to add. How well is it going to mesh? You know what I'm saying? Like with the quarterbacks, I said it so many times before with quarterbacks. Y'all got all these animations in this and the third, right? Are we going to have realistic QB release times? Are we going to have actual velocity, not from an ability or a superstar X Factor standpoint? Are we going to have actual QB velocities? Are we going to see a rocket arm or a precision arm from somebody like, I don't know. I feel like most quarterbacks have like precision rocket arms, but you know, if I got somebody like, I don't know, I'll just stick with Jalen Hurts for the time being. If I got Jalen Hurts and I got him and I'm dropping back and I throw like a quick 10-yard slant, right? If I'm throwing a pass like that don't require me to wind my arm up and throw the damn ball, right? I'm expecting him literally just quick wind up, just put it right there. You know what I'm saying? If I got a small pocket to throw into, can I throw into that pocket without me feeling like the ball is underthrown or the ball doesn't have the right velocity going from my arm to the ball? You know what I'm saying? Do we have that? You know, do we actually have the ability to be able to thread the needle, quote unquote? Not from a big, super huge window and that type of thread the needle, but literally those small little window passes. Can I make that type of pass without feeling like I'm not going to have enough velocity to it, or it's going to get picked off because the guy's going to somehow motion shift over and make the pick? If I decide to, which I've seen this a lot, if I decide to make that small window pass and try to thread it in there, right? If at any given point in time, if I press A or X, depending on what system you're on, if I press that button to try to possession catch it because that's what I legitimately want to do, because again, it's a small window, I'm threading the needle, and there's no way I'm going to be able to rack it because I have everybody converging on me when I try to catch this ball. So the best bet is to catch it and lay down. If I throw that and I press possession catch, what is going to reassure me that when I do that, he's not going to motion shift over on some, oh, well, you made a bad pass and a bad catch selection, so you're going to throw a pick because of that. You see what I'm saying? When y'all talk about simulation, how simulation are we talking? I got a 2K5 video where I literally threaded the needle in first person mode. And I even showed a replay outside of that showing what it's like to thread the needle, right? And it felt so satisfying. When I find the video, I'll put it together and I'll put it up there. But when y'all say simulation, how simulation are we talking? You know, so okay, well, that leads me to my next point, simulation concerns. Again, what exactly is going to reassure me that this simulation, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes when I say this, what is going to assure me that simulation is really going to be simulation? At the end of the day, this is EA Sports. This is Madden. Madden hasn't been simulation since, God, I can't even tell you when it's been simulation. It hasn't even been simulation since they added sim, competitive, and arcade. It hasn't been sim since then. The only thing that has been more sim is just the whole idea that they're adding in, they're trying to factor in the player ratings and to that degree. But other than that, I mean, what is making it sim? Like, how sim are we talking? Are we talking sim to the point where I can follow my fullback and my fullback can create daylight and I don't have to worry about him turning around or getting stuck on somebody? How sim are we talking? Are we talking about it's so sim to the point where if I'm throwing the ball, right, if a guy's backpedaling, I can time him on the back pedal when he's deciding to switch his hips and try to track the ball, and now his back is to me. Is there a way that I can be able to catch him while he's doing that and kind of give my guy the edge to be able to try to catch the ball because the defender took a little hit in speed to try to turn around and switch his hips to try to cover the wide receiver? Can I make a back shoulder throw and be confident that I'm making a back shoulder throw and not have to get shitted on by an animation that's queuing up, right? Again, animation choices, right? You adding over all these animations. How consistent or how smart is the animation choices compared to the situation? You got these reach forward animations. Can we trigger those animations? You see what I'm saying? Y'all talking about, I know Kurt Benkert said, something about user friendly. How user friendly are we talking? There's so many concerns, and I feel like it goes back to my thing about the influences and the responsibility. There's not enough questions being asked. You know what I'm saying? That's why I have a very huge distrust with EA Sports. Nobody's asking the right questions. Nobody's giving the right information. It's all regurgitated crap. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure some of them probably wanted to actually be able to go out there and give their actual feedback, stuff like that, ask questions. They probably pressed them for time just so that they didn't have to ask those questions. Or if they did, they probably gave them some cookie cutter answer just to appease them and hold them off, just so that they don't have to ask that question no more. You know what I mean? And then again, the cycle is going to start over and over and over and over and over again until we get more competition. But let me see what else is there. Now the weather concerns. Now, real quick, I want to show you guys Maximum Football for a second, right? And listen, I don't care that you don't like Maximum Football. I don't care if you think that the game looks blocky, it looks like crap. I don't care. I truly don't care. And I'm gonna timestamp that too, because I want you guys to know that I don't care whether you do or you don't like Maximum Football. This is just to prove a point, right? They talked about weather in Madden, right? And it sucks because they're using it as a selling point. Like weather hasn't been a thing since it came to the PS5, right? They've been talking about weather this, weather that, weather this, weather that. They've been talking about it since it came to the PS5. When Madden 21 came to the PS5 and it just came out, that was one of the biggest things that they tried to harp on. But look at Maximum Football, right? This is on the Unreal Engine. If you look at the snow, look at how there's degradation to the snow. Look at how you can see trails in the snow. In Madden, you just see over time the snow just kind of being like worn down, right? And they want to harp on the weather being a big difference in Madden, right? Because it's a selling point. That's a selling point in Madden. That's an update in Maximum Football. So think about that. Now, I want to show you guys a little small clip of the Eagles playing against the Lions in the snow, if you remember that game. All my Eagle fans, y'all remember this. Shady McCoy was giving crazy work in that snow. Look at how much snow is on that ground. Look at how much of degradation is in that snow. But when you look at Madden and that small little clip, you just see a flat surface of snow, but it's more or less from the presentation of, if you look up in the sky, you see just a big fog of snow, right? It's not being reflected on the field. The only thing that's being reflected on the field is the movement. If you're going to add snow, EA, if you're going to add those type of things, you have to go all the way in with it. Pause. You have to go all the way. There's no half stepping. You can't just show snow and then at the same time only incorporate movement hindrance or certain things of that regard, and just a visual aspect of snow falling from the sky. If you look up, the distance is blurry because you got snow coming down. It's the visibility is limited and blah 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 blah. Why does the snow look better in Maximum Football? It has more understanding and more meaning than Madden. Why are you trying to harp on the weather being so much of a difference maker that I'm going to be slipping and falling in rain or snow, or the elements are going to be affecting me more than ever? It was already bad enough that when I played in the franchise mode, that my guys were I think it was one of those ones where they had it to where you it was like a key game, and I think it was like maybe the third or fourth week, I forget. But because it was raining, all your guys change of direction was minus 15. Y'all remember that? Every time they had a key game, when you clicked on it, how are you going to handle this game since you're going to be in the elements? And however you answered it was however you answered it. All right, because this game is snowing or raining, everybody's going to have negative 15 change of direction. I remember that. So that's going to be your ongoing theme anytime that there's weather in these games, right, EA? That concerns me. Y'all will overdo this weather thing because you're trying to show us, hey guys, look at what we did. Look at what we did with the weather. Look at what we did. You're going to completely ruin the experience if you don't do it right. And forgive me for not giving them the benefit of the doubt, but I don't trust it. I don't trust it by any means. I don't trust it because they are known to mess up a wet dream. I mentioned it earlier, but data-driven gameplay, they said that coaches are going to be more You know, the game is going to more or less call plays or coach suggestions depending on the situation, the distance, and all the other factors that factor in. So it's going to be more or less tailored to the situation at hand. Playing against AI is going to feel like you're playing against a coach, quote unquote. Again, you know, we've heard that before. I believe in Madden 21 they had something along the lines with next gen stats of Amazon or whatever, something like that, and try to incorporate that. I believe that was more or less like player movement, but every year it always has something to do with player data or something in regards to data in the NFL. There's always something in regards to that, and they try to incorporate it, but every single time when Madden comes out, it's always afterthought. I promise you, I'm not thinking nothing about data. I'm not thinking nothing about the way this coach might play or the way these players might play. I'm not thinking nothing about that. It's always an afterthought. You guys always try to upsell us on the whole aspect of NFL-driven data. Oh, this game is powered by such and such data. This game is powered by so-and-so data. Y'all do this every single time. And yet these influencers, they're all running the same regurgitated crap that you're telling us in these dev blogs and some of the talking points that y'all gave them. They're regurgitating the same thing, telling us like we're supposed to just be up in arms and rejoicing that, oh man, EA finally listened. Listen, it sounds good on paper, but when it's time to finally come out with the game, it never meshes well. It never does. So basically, wrap everything up, man. I say all this to say, college football 26 and Madden 26, it doesn't leave a whole lot to be desired, if I'm being 100% honest. You know what I mean? Especially college football 26. I don't really see anything in college football 26 that's making me say, oh man, I need to get my hands on this. Absolutely not. The streak will continue of me not giving EA my money. If y'all want to, y'all are free to do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to continue to play my part and not give them any ounce of my money because I feel that they don't deserve it. I'm going to continue to get my advanced copies, get them via giveaways, but I'm not going to give them any more of my money. And other people probably going to say also, well, if you don't like Madden or college football, why do you keep playing it? Who's going to continue to make the content, right? I can have y'all sending in clips and I just react on them. And then what's the next complaint going to be after that? Oh, bro's ragging on college football. Bro's ragging on Madden. And he's not even playing the game. Oh my God, bro, you need to find you something else to do. Oh man, all this hating on EA is crazy, especially when you don't play the game. I mean, you're going to continue to move the goalposts. So again, I'm not going to buy Madden. I'm not going to buy college football because I've been doing it. I haven't bought college football 25, and I'm not going to buy 26. I haven't bought Madden since Madden 18. So the continuation is going to continue of me not buying an EA Sports football game. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? Because no matter who you throw at me as an influencer, no matter how much you try to revamp this and revamp that, to bring this back and bring this in, as much as you try to sway me, it's never going to work because we have an understanding that these games will never be great like they used to be. They never will be. With all this horsepower and technology that we have, you guys still find a way to not harness the horsepower to make sure that we have a consistent, cohesive game. Because I'm telling you, immersion is one of the biggest things in football games that keep people either enticed or either they completely just break the immersion altogether. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe. Appreciate all those watching. I'm showing the videos, man, most definitely. Like I said, make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe. Share the word, spread links, because you know how I do. But I'm going to get up out of here, man. It's your boy, Jay Divine, and I'm signing out. Peace.